How you doing? Okay, so just a little bit before RavenCon, I posted a video to the RavenCon group page on Facebook. That was a card trick. I called it a memory test. The trick is actually a 2-deck color-changing deck. I used a different name, in part because of the way I present it. I present it as a memory test, but also in part so people couldn't just go look it up by the name. And then the second video was Saturday morning. And the two videos were in part to promote the beginner card magic and magic class in the Rookery, and in part to just promote me doing more of a contest around the convention this year, where I was doing a lot of giveaways and a lot of promotion of playing cards, playing card magic, magic in general. I said I was going to do the tutorials, so we're going to get to the point of where I tell you how this was done. And this is going to be the first video of more than just a few. I'm going to start out with the 2 tricks that were part of the video promotion that I did. After that, the videos that follow will be some of the tricks that I went over in the class itself and with a few of you, kind of one-on-one later because you couldn't make the class, and we met up and I tried to go over what I could. Those tricks are going to be in there. There's going to be some additional tricks that we just did not have time for in an hour, or in the case of some of you, in the time that we had before I got called off to certain volunteer duties. And then a few additional tricks will be done. Maybe not quite beginner, but as part of the class. One of the things that everybody got was decks of cards that I put special gaff cards with. And some of those gaff cards are definitely fun to play with, maybe not quite beginner, but I'm going to go ahead and knock those out in this series so that you have an idea what to do with them and you can work your way up. So this is the 2-card color change trick that I presented in the first video, called the memory test. Trick goes as follows. You ask the individual across from you to pick one of the 2 decks. And very important, make sure it's the same brand. And that they, other than the back of the cards, they look the same. But you ask the individual across from you, pick a color. Do they want, in this case, green or pink? Person says they want pink. All right, which leaves me with green. Do not hand the deck to them. You are going to take the deck out of the box and put it down in front of them. Then do the same with your deck. Now, we're just going to roll with the performance without me doing the instruction until we get to the tutorial. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go through a number of steps, and we're going to exchange a card, one from my deck to yours, one from your deck to mine. And then we will bring the decks back together, our individual decks back together, and I will locate the cards. We're going to do something a little different, though. We're going to start out with the cards face up. Now, there's several steps that you're going to have to do. See if you can follow along. And remember, don't do them yet. I'm just going to show you what we need to do. I'm going to spread my cards out. When I tell you to do so, you're going to do the same. You will touch a card on yours deck. I will put it up here. I will touch a card and put it on yours. We will bring our respective decks back together, and then to bury that card somewhere in the deck, we will cut the decks. So you follow along. You can do that. You got it? Awesome. So spread your deck out. All right. Touch any card you want. Okay, so you're going to do the Queen of Diamonds. You know what? I think, you know what? I think I'm going to go for the Four of Spades. Bring the decks back together. And now cut the decks. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the card that you gave me and the card that I gave you. And I'm going to do that just by spreading the decks out. Which sounds really unimpressive because the decks are face up and I know what the cards are, right? Not a problem. We're going to turn the cards back over. But before we turn the cards back over, here comes the memory test part. What color is your deck? You say pink? I'm not too sure about that because I'm pretty sure I have the pink deck, which means you've got the green deck now. But let's see if we can find those cards. Yeah, and it seems I had the pink deck, you had the green deck. We switched cards. Here's the card you gave me. Here's the card I gave you. The card I gave you is, in fact, the Four of Spades. And the card that I've got here is the Queen of Diamonds that you gave me. Okay. Here's the tutorial. This is an insanely easy trick to do. It basically involves very carefully removing the decks from the boxes. Go through the deck. I'm going to go ahead and take this card since it's right there and easy to find. Go through the decks and find the same card in each deck. And take your green deck, in this case the Ace of Spades, take your pink Ace of Spades, put it on the top, and place that deck in your pink box. Take your green Ace of Spades, put it on the top of your pink deck, and put your pink deck with the green Ace of Spades in the green box. You are now ready to start the trick. I'm not going to pull, well, I might as well pull both of them back out. So what happens is you decide which way you're going to do, who's going to do what color, and you take the decks out. Take the decks out very carefully. This is also why you remove both decks. You do not hand the deck to the other person, because all you have to do is do that and the trick is messed up. So you take the deck out, you very carefully handle it and hold it. And if you're kind of unsure of yourself, if you're not sure you can get the deck out without doing something like that, go ahead and take it face out or face up. Take it out face up. There we go. Words work again. Take the deck out face cards up. And then when you're talking to them, you can just turn it over just casually or just while you're talking, blah, 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 blah. And that way you can still flash the pink card at them. But if you're pretty sure, you can control the cards. Take it out so they see the pink back coming out of the pink deck. Set the deck down. There are different ways to do this next step. I've seen a lot of people do different things. A friend of mine has a thing he picked up from someone else. He'll make sure, like, one deck has a 10 of diamonds on the bottom and one deck has a 10 of hearts, and he'll just do something like, "Ooh, I don't like that. That looks a little," and he'll cut the deck just to change it up, which I always, if it works for you, it does. That just kind of struck me as weird, so I added the instructions in. And that also, if you've got kind of a sarcastic sense of humor and you can get away with it, it kind of gives you a chance to play with the person a little, because you're telling them the steps your ace is on the bottom. And before I get ahead of myself, part of why you want to do that is your card is on the bottom, right? If you just spread the deck out and do the trick, it looks really weird if you pull the card you're going to give them directly from what was the top of the stack all the way over on the side. Very few people grab a card from there. They generally go for the middle section. So you need to get this card into the middle. And doing it the way I did it in the first video, more so than this tutorial, you go through the steps and tell them, when I say now, spread them out. Da-da-da-da-da, you'll touch a card, I'll put it on mine, I'll touch a card, I'll put it on yours. We will bring the decks back together. And then to hide the cards or bury the cards in the deck, we will cut our respective decks. It's like, there you go. If you got it, you can remember it. Good. Don't get cocky. That's not the memory test. Just kind of screwing around and playing with them. But you can see the green card is now more towards the center of the deck. So it's not going to look as weird as me, pulling the card from here. But now we're ready with our card set. You spread your cards out. They spread their cards out. Again, you don't have to worry too much about this card being on the bottom, because most people are going to go for this range. It's just natural. That's where people go. So they're going to pick something in here, and oh, okay, they'll take the King of Hearts. You put the Ace of Spades on theirs, and you bring the decks back together, blah, blah, blah. Now, I say blah, blah, blah because let's back up a second. Let's say for a moment that, for whatever reason, they end up looking and they pull this card. It's not a problem. Say they're, an old school metal fan and they like Motorhead, so they're going to go for the Ace of Spade. They touch the Ace of Spade. You touch the Ace of Spade. Well, that means you can't do reveal for reveal anymore. So don't let that throw you. You've both brought the decks back together. Cut the deck. Bring the decks together. It's at this point that you can tell someone, if they don't pull that Ace of Spades, if they pull any of the other cards, it's at this point you can tell them, okay, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to find the cards, and I'm going to find our cards by spreading the cards out and pulling out the cards that, we exchanged, which doesn't sound very impressive because they're face up and I know the cards, right? Blah, blah, blah. In this case, they pulled the Ace of Spades. They went all the way to the bottom and put it on there. There is no green card in my pink deck to stand out, right? Skip the card find. It's one of the reasons, and I don't remember if I did it this way or not in the first video. It's one of the reasons that I have started when doing this, that I call it a memory test from the beginning, and I don't mention the find the card part until we get to this stage. Because I actually did. It's also one of the reasons why I try to use mundane cards. I don't use the Queen of Hearts. I don't use the Ace of Spades. I don't use the Jack of Clubs, which has special meaning for some people in cards. I try to use a mundane card, like a 4 or a 7 or a 6 or an 8, something like that. Something that people probably are not going to go hunting for. So you use an Ace of Spades and you run into somebody who, they have an affinity for the Ace of Spades. Here's my card. Okay, cool. You want me to take the Ace of Spades? Well, I'll tell you what. I'll give you one right back. Just go for that. You haven't mentioned card search. You're good. At that point, you just go straight. You skip the whole, I'm going to find the card, blah, 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 and just go straight to, okay, real quick. Just out of curiosity, which deck do you have? Which deck do I have? Blah, blah, blah. And then they think they have the pink deck, and, you've got the green deck. and just end it real quick before they think about the fact that there's no mismatched card in there. But if they don't do that, and you've given them the 4 of spades, they've given you the 6, obviously that just gives you the chance to ask them, which deck have you got? Oh, well, I've got the pink deck. You've got the green. Here's our 2 cards. 6 of diamonds, 4 of spades. The trick might have a little less impact, but you can salvage it. It's one of those things. Don't freak out. Don't let it throw you. Don't suddenly start, okay, don't worry about it. So long as you don't tell them from the first go that this is technically a card finding trick, you don't have to find the card. If you get to this point and it's good for you to do the card finding trick, give them that spiel, then hit them with a memory test. If they happen to go and pull the card from the bottom for whatever reason, just go straight to the color change and kind of let that wow them for a moment, and just try to pull it back together and move before they start kind of thinking, well, wait a minute, where's the switched cards? But yeah, no, that's the secret of the trick. It's a 2 deck color change, and it's basically just taking 2 of the same cards, a 4 of spades and a 4 of spades from the decks, switch the decks, switch the boxes, you handle the cards, you go through the steps. Works like a charm. As old as this trick is, and as many people who do card magic or who do card tricks are out there that probably know this trick, 99% of the people that you know who are not into card magic will not know this trick. And it will mess with their minds 6 ways from Sunday, and they will be coming up with the most ridiculous solutions, to the point where at a Christmas gathering, I did this trick with a couple of Christmas decks, the snowman decks from playingcarddex.com. And I had my brother-in-law, because of the business he's in and certain things he's dealt with, he was positive that these were special inks with color change nature on them. So I had pushed down real hard and done that, which warmed the decks up, and he was sitting there doing this, with the cards. Yeah, you'll get that. It's nobody will think of the simple answer. And you can just do it again and again and again, and it'll work great. So that's it. Like I said, it's a simple trick. Very easy to set up. Very easy to do. So see you in the next video.